So this man was trying to get me to live in a garage, right? And I wasn't about that life.
Welcome to our channel.
I'm Tracy.
I'm Vasco.
And we are
Browne
Family Builders. Today we're going to be talking about how we accidentally became house hackers and what house hacking is.
It's fun, it's cool, it takes work, but it's rewarding.
But what is it?
What is it? It is you buy a box, you create a corner of the box, and you rent out that box to people to help you pay for the entire box.
Oh, that's fair. That's instead of saying like an apartment, because you could do it in different ways, right?
Anything you want.
You could do it, you could rent out
An apartment.
What else could you rent out?
A beach house, a garage.
And rent out rooms in the house.
Anything you want to do. You take something and you rent out the thing that you're paying for to help pay for the thing.
You can't use thing 5 times.
You rent a thing, rent out a space in that thing,
Right.
and use the rental income from that space to help you pay for the thing. It's called house hacking.
Right.
Or
So,
subletting.
Subletting.
Whatever
So
have
it's a
you.
little different from subletting, because I think when people think of subletting, it's like
The
you're
entire space is
yeah,
theirs.
like you're not there, right? Like you're letting somebody else use it. But this
No,
is
you live
really
there.
just like renting out pieces of your space in order to support with a mortgage. So if you have a multifamily unit, that would be renting out the other units. If you have a 3-bedroom house, that would be renting out two of the bedrooms. Or as some people, live in a garage and rent out all 3 bedrooms.
I totally agree with that.
He was trying to get me to live in the garage.
You live in the garage,
It's
we could
not
have
gonna
both
happen.
salaries in one.
Yes, but we see sometimes. Okay, so here's why I wanted to do this channel, because I see a lot of channels where it's either women
Welcome to our
who are
channel.
doing it, and I see guys who are doing it, and I want to have the conversation that I think when couples are doing this, there's some things you need to think about. So this man was trying to get me to live in a garage, right? And I wasn't about that life. I'm not a ride or die. I'm a ride or live. We gonna live like I want to. Like, I'm not dying with you. I'm sorry. I love you. Like,
You never tell me?
not unnecessarily.
Wow.
So I just had to establish my boundaries. So I was cool with, multi-rental. I was cool with not having like a big lavish single family home go around, because it's just the 2 of us. We don't have any children together yet. I have my bonus
Sons.
children. I have my bonus babies,
children.
but they're both grown. They barely want to come visit us. So
Shout out to Khalil and Jabari.
Yeah. So we made sure we had a bedroom for them when they came over, but we didn't need like this whole big old palatial mansion for us yet. And so we decided that while we had time before we started expanding our family, that we would be strategic in how we purchased our first home, so that we
And get ready
could
for the process.
save some coins.
Prepare for it. We got engaged.
Right.
We decided to get married. And I said I didn't want to come back from a wedding into a rented apartment. I
Right.
want to come back to our own house.
And we were living in my mom's condo at the time, and
Yeah.
that was a whole situation. We'll make a video about that later.
Yes.
But we knew that we had a limited time to be there. But we didn't really have, I feel like we had pieces of a plan, but we didn't have like a plan. Like we weren't like XYZ.
House
like,
hacking was not
we
a
had-
term that we learned.
Right. First of all, house hacking was like some made up, like we did not know that term, right?
Yeah.
But we did, I remember like even when we were dating, we both talked about having interest in investing in real estate, right? So we had talked about it, but we didn't really like talk about like elaborate. Because we started looking for apartments first.
Yeah. We were going to move in together.
And then we were engaged and we started looking for, so we were like, okay, well.
Let's save money for the wedding.
Right. So we started saving money for the wedding, and then we were like, wait.
The wedding down payment costs the same as the house down payment.
Right. Let's buy a house, right? And so originally when we were looking for a house, our realtor kept making fun of us, because every time we would be looking at these single family houses, and we'd be like, oh, I wonder if we could turn the basement into another apartment, because we were thinking about my dad, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because my dad had gotten ill. And so he was like, why don't y'all just look at a multifamily
He kept
house?
hinting. He was like, you guys can definitely handle the landlords. You guys be okay with that. A lot of people are scared of that, but you guys are not scared of that stuff. Like, you should really, really get into house hacking.
Yeah, and we were like,
I don't
alright.
know.
First, I was hesitant because, babe, I want to travel. I don't want a house that's going to be a headache. Like, let's just get a condo. Like, let's get something small so that we are not, like, tied down or whatever, so we can be free.
Yeah.
And this is why I love him, because he would like ease us into stuff. So he'd be like, well, let me just show y'all something.
Show you one thing.
I thought this was interesting. I thought this might be interesting.
He's like, let me show you 2 houses, and then I got a third one, and we're gonna talk about it later.
And he's like, I got 2 in the possible, right? So he would take us to see these single family houses, and then he started showing us these 2-family houses, and he'd be like, well, like with the numbers on this one, your tenant would essentially pay your
most of the mortgage, yeah.
And we were like, oh, that sounds good. And so we started thinking about like, the numbers on having a tenant. Yeah, like having a tenant basically being
also some of the 2s the same price as the 1.
Right, exactly. So the difference in price wasn't that significant anyway. And so then the more we started doing the numbers, we were like, okay, it makes a lot of sense to actually, to get a multifamily, because then we could, all the traveling that I want to do, we'd have this extra income that we weren't paying for our mortgage or our living expense to spend on traveling. So then he showed us a 4-family.
Yep, and that's when we were hooked. At that point, we put together our wedding money.
But we combined our savings and the money that we were saving for a wedding, and we put the down payment on the house. And with an FHA, it ended up being 3.5%. 4% down. And with the price of our house was $379. So at 4%, how much did we end up coming out of pocket? Like $20,000. It ended up after like closing.
24.
Yeah, closing costs, down payment, all that good stuff. And there was definitely things we learned after that kind of like where we could have saved a little bit of that money, but
right.
Yeah, but 20 grand down to have a 4-unit brick house that our tenants paid the mortgage for, was able to fund our wedding, because the money that we weren't spending for living expenses, we just kind of stocked that away and ended up getting married about 9 months after we moved. And that's how we became what is now known as Hackers.
And that's where Browne Family Builders started.
If you want to hear more of our story, if you like what you saw, if you have questions for us, don't forget to, what are you going to do? Come on, baby, you got to say like, subscribe,
and turn that notification on.
Ding, ding,
to hear more.
Okay, let me kiss. You got to do that. Thanks.